about how you need to modify things just a little bit. So everybody was on really good track with that. Looking at that example code from last time, thinking about, okay, I need to open this file, I need to write to it, and I need to close this file. So then we had to start thinking about where do those things need to happen in our program execution? Because if we want to write out a piece of data for every pixel that gets changed in our program, then we need to open our file before we start changing any pixels, write the file as we're changing them, and then close the file at the very end. So just a few lines of code, but where they go is what matters so much. Can you take over? Chad will show us his, and he went ahead and added in a print statement too so that he could see the output and make sure that it was working. Let me move this out of the way. So it's running. So show us what's going on, sir.
So basically, I just did this section right here. I looked at the example that we did last time and set out file to write a log, and then I did data line and then row, column, new RGB values and the old ones, and then it's printing all that, like the row, column, the old or the new values, and then the old ones after that, and then saving it to a log, and then closing the file.
Now, I want you guys to notice that if we have 20,000 pixels to process in this image, we're going to be opening and closing that file 20,000 times, right? So there are good things and bad things about doing that. The bad thing is it's going to be a lot slower to run than if we just open the file up at the very beginning before we go into our for loops and close it down at the very end after we're done. But if we do that, then we won't have an output file to read unless the image processes completely, right? Or we wouldn't have a complete output file. Because we saw last time Python would let us see that file even if we hadn't closed it. But in some languages, we would end up with nothing there until we'd actually process it. But let's have him stop this program and let's make that change. So let's move your open up to the top where our other code was that was getting things prepared for processing our image glitch. And then let's move the close down here to the end with our other stuff that is our finishing things. So this program, it might be easier for us to identify where this needs to go if we had functions, right? Because our functions would logically separate everything and make it a little bit easier to figure out where things belong. Let's run it again and see if that makes it go any faster. Since we're outputting to the console, we're still going to have that delay there from that. But I think you can see how it's dramatically quicker because it's not opening and closing that file each time it processes a pixel. I know it's hard to see Chad's because we can't zoom in very good with PyCharm. It's a setting and it doesn't really do it by default. But can you guys see where he is there? Our important line of code is right here where we've got this data line being built and then writing it to the output file. So let's leave that there while it runs. Oh, in your output file? So what could he do to fix that? Yeah, the backslash n. Perfect. Oh, did you read
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
it's so big.
It's huge. So you work, it's working then because you're writing a row for every pixel. So see how much you're doing in those for loops. You're processing all of those pixels. It's doing a lot more work than you realize.
And see how much this
You
year is.
can. That has to help control the lead.
It said it's blocked as administrative.
What?
Yeah.
How are we supposed to know how things are working for us? That's crap. I'll send the thing. Because I don't think it's having much of an impact. But I'd like you to be able to see it.
Mine just is like all over. I just
It's going everywhere.
280,000 lines.
See
Oh,
it?
I'm just one
Can you go
line.
back to your code, Chad?
Mine's just one continuous
Oh, in output right, the
slash n.
Yeah.
Can you do a snip tool on that and zoom in on that code? It is tiny. Next week. Let me double check where and when. Next week on Friday, May 10th, are the capstone presentations. The capstone is a class that people that are CIS and CSC majors take at the very end, where they work with a business and create a project for a company. If you guys go to these presentations, you could submit the networking extra credit assignment, and I would give you extra credit for attending. They are 3 to 5 in NKM 108, and they're come and go. So their poster presentations, they're supposed to be standing around with their projects to explain them to you as you come through. This morning we went over and looked at Greg and a couple of other people. They've been working really hard on this food computer thing. It's been killing them. They got it all to work, kind of like you guys with these files here. It can be great when you get stuff to work. And they've worked with Raspberry Pis and Python and a lot of the things that you guys are working with. And they really, really had to stretch themselves to get everything going. But now they're super excited because it is finally working and everything's good. That's what we kind of live for in programming, not the trauma, but actually getting things to work. It's like, yes, we got it to work. So their experience with Python and the Raspberry Pis is about the same as you guys's. It's something they had to really work on and learn. Yes.
I tried to duplicate this code in my file, has nothing.
Yeah, you get nothing.
I have no idea what this happened.
Let's see.
I read it. I got that. That's it. That's all.
Yes, just that. Now, yours is a little different. So you have to.
How many times by yourself before you just stop at that? I don't know.
28,000 or 280,000.
That's 481,000.
What is your file size?
File size 11.
You guys have just got your file working. Go to that Greenstone Academy to that next thing. And it's that little turtle program, and they want you to create 2 turtles and use random numbers to get the turtles to race across the screen. So they give you a really good explanation in the Greenstone Academy stuff of how to get started with it. It's just a great one to try. That looks really good. Uh-huh. So you gotta do work. You can change that easy enough. Fix it. Yay! Good job. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to enter session here. And you, thank you.